Tartonne is a commune in the Alpes-de-Haute-Provence department in southeastern France. The name of the inhabitants is Tartonnais. Geography, site and climate. The village of Tartonne is located bottom of valley, 945 meters altitude, greatly influencing the climate. The differences of temperatures on the same day are very important. In 2004, the mean amplitude of temperature was 27 degrees Celsius. The landscape is marked by robin of sedimentary rock of black color, which is very soft and crumbly to air, but which is very strong in the subsoil. Hydrography. The river Asse de Clermont has its source in the north of the commune. Environment. The commune has 200 hectares of woods and forests, though only 4.5% of its area. Habitat and hamlets. Like its neighbor Clermont, Tartonne does not correspond to a specific agglomeration, which is quite unusual. The habitat is very dispersed, and one can distinguish 5 groups of hamlets which are very distant from each other. Petit Defend at 850 meters altitude. Plan-de-Chaude, the main hamlet at 975 meters, which constitutes the headquarters with the town hall. Maladrech at 950 meters. Le Viable, Les Tharons and Les Laugiers, all at 1075–1200 meters. Sauzeries Hautes and Sauzeries Basses at 800–1050 meters. Le Pin at 1,100 meters. This distance is due to the poverty of the soil, and the difficulty of building, the strong gradients, the presence of numerous watercourses, and the instability of the land, means that more than 85% of the territory of the commune is unbuildable. Major hazards. None of the 200 communes of the department is in the zero seismic risk zone. The canton of Barremy, to which Tartonne belongs, is in Zone 1B according to the deterministic classification of 1991, based on the historical earthquakes, and in Zone 4 according to the EC8 probabilistic classification of 2011. The municipality of Tartonne is also exposed to 3 other natural risks: forest fire, flooding, land movement. Several slopes of the municipality are covered by a medium to high hazard. The municipality of Tartonne is exposed to any of the risks of technological origin identified by the prefecture and a foreseeable natural risk. Prevention plan for the district exists. The DICRIM has existed since 2011. The commune was subject to orders of disaster for flooding and mudslides of mud in 1994 and 2011. Toponymy. The name of the locality would be formed on the pre-Celtic root *Tortona of unknown origin and meaning according to Ernest Negri, though according to Charles Rostaring rooted in *tar, designating stone, and by the Feni couple in Anorinum. Negri is disputed by Raymond Sindhu, who considers unlikely a lack of change of the name for 1,500 years, and offers a comparison, without a sense of moving forward. Tortona to Deatosa in Hispania Tarraconensis and Detona in Cisa Alpine Gaul. The name of the summit of Cuculaon at 1,886 meters is formed on the pre-Celtic root *cug, another oronym, with repetition and addition of a diminutive suffix. History. Antiquity. The first traces of occupation date back to the Gallo-Roman at the current location of the hamlet of Petit Defend. Augustus made the conquest of the Arses Valley, while that of the Alps he completed in 14 BC. It is difficult to know the name of the Gallic tribe that inhabited the valley, and the name of the civitas which Tartonne depended on in the early empire, Eteramina of Sanatensium. At the end of the Roman Empire, the connection to that of Sanatensium, and its diocese, was proved with the disappearance of the bishopric of Thorami. Middle Ages. The two communities, Lépine and Tartonne, were reported in charters in the 13th century. In 1342, the two communities of Tartonne and Lépine are attached to the Viguerie of Castellane by the Comte of Provence. It is from the 12th century that the village began to develop, where the village is located on the road from Dinan-les-Bains to Colmars passing by Thoramy, and that a saltwater source had been found, enabling the inhabitants not to pay the gabelle. The village was mainly agricultural, and the harvesting of salt through the salt source was granted by Queen Jeanne in 1402. During the Middle Ages, the village was cut back several times. The community of Lépine was heavily depopulated by the crisis of the 14th century and was annexed by Tartonne in 15th century, but continued to be a separate fief. It consisted of civilian buildings and a monastery abandoned before the Revolution. The only trace of this monastic presence is the St. Gervais oratory that was installed at the entrance to the hamlet. At the square where the villagers had installed a wooden cross of the chapel of the monastery after its dismantling. This monastery and civilian buildings belonged to the family of the famous Dina philosopher Gassendi. Tartonne is not untouched by the wars of religion. Population increased from about 200 to 500 inhabitants. The modest chateau of Maladrech was built in 1642, near the road leading to Dina. Early modern period. The successive lords of Bou, the de Gaults in the 14th and 15th centuries, the Villeneuves in the 16th and 17th centuries, and finally Gassendi until the French Revolution. At the end of the ancient regime, the community is linked to the Viguerie of Val-de-Baramie. French Revolution. During the Revolution, the town had a patriotic society, created after the end of 1792. Contemporary era. The Revolution and the Empire brought many improvements, including a land value tax equal to all, and proportional to the value of the assets of each. To put it in place on specific grounds, the lifting of a cadaster is determined. The Finance Act on 15 September 1807 specified its terms, but its realization took a long time to implement. Officials of the cadaster dealing with the communes in successive geographical groups. It is only in 1837 that the Napoleonic cadaster of Tartonne was completed. In the 19th century, the drilling of the Clou of Lépine allowed the passage of most important convoys, and shortened the journey. This road was abandoned in the second half of the 20th century with the arrival of the car and the creation of departmental roads. As many municipalities of the department, Tartonne acquired a school well before the Jules Ferry laws. In 1863, it already had a school which provides primary education to the boys at the main settlement. No instruction was given to girls, nor by the Fallow Law, which required the opening of a girls' school in the communes with more than 800 inhabitants. Neither did the first Erwy Law, which lowered the threshold to 500 inhabitants, concern Tartonne. It was only with ferry laws that the daughters of the municipality are regularly educated. Tartonne was occupied during World War II by the Italian forces in 1940. In the area, many airdrops of weapons and the establishment of STO allowed the resistance to carry out actions against the German army, which occupied the region from 1942. In retaliation, many houses were burned and destroyed, along with the chateau of Maladrech, which served as a cache. Heraldry, politics and administration. Demography. In 2012, Tartonne had 137 inhabitants. For the 21st century, actual censuses for communes with less than 10,000 population are held every 5 years. Since 2004, the other figures are estimates. The Tartonne demographic history, after the depopulation of the 14th and 15th centuries and the long movement of growth until the early 19th century, was marked marked by a period of spread, where the population remained stable at a high level. This period lasted from 1806 to 1846. The rural exodus then caused a decline in population, most importantly a long-term movement. As early as 1911, the municipality recorded the loss of more than half of its population in relation to the historic maximum. The downward movement stopped in the 1970s and has reversed to the present day. Sites and monuments. Our Lady of Intrigues. The parish church is placed under the patronage of Our Lady of Intrigues and under the patronage of Saint Michel. It is built away from the village, and surrounded by the cemetery. The bell tower dates from 1564, except for the top floor which was added in 1865. The nave, built in the 12th century, has 3 bays covered with a barrel vault, rebuilt in the 17th century and in 1830. The chancel, in a short span. Above the rounded apse, some capitals are carved, including an atlas. An aisle on the south side has been abandoned. On the north side, 2 chapels date from the 17th century. It is an historical monument since the 12th of April 1972. It was restored in the 1970s. Other works have been carried out by an association for the safeguarding of the building, including to the floor, roof, wall, and sundial. The furniture includes 2 bells, one which dates to the 16th century, and the other from 1771. The church has several paintings, including a donation of the Rosary of Patrick T. St. Blaise of Sebastian, a St. Michel slaying the dragon, as well as the statue of Our Lady of Intrigues from the 18th century. Other monuments. The Chateau of Maladreche, with 2 round pigeons. Maladreche means bad place. A chapel had been added to it between 1764 and 1779, but fell into ruins at the end of the 19th century. The rest of the building was partially destroyed in the 19th century, comprising of 2 buildings. It also has a farm. The interior decoration includes the French ceilings, fireplace plaster. From the outside, you can see a cross and a sundial from 1642. Other places, the glue of Lapine. The source salt of the Salao, covered under a vault, is a historical monument since April 1, 1993. The Chapel of Saint Jean-Baptiste, formerly Our Lady of the Rosary, at Plan-de-Chaude in Thauron. The Chapel of Saint Anne at Thauron was built in the mid-17th century by the inhabitants of village, and restored in the 1830s. Small dimensions. The nave is 8.65 meters long, 4.8 meters high, and 5.4 meters wide. Notable people: Jean-Gaspard Gassendi, born in Tartonne, deputy to the Estates General in 1789 and in 1799. Bibliography: Collier, Raymond. La Haute-Provence Monumental et Artistique. Dina, Imprimerie Louis Jean. 559 p. Baratier, Edouard. W. Georges Hildesheimer, Ernest. Atlas historique, Provence. Comtat Venaissin, Principauté d'Orange, Comté de Nice, Principauté de Monaco, Paris. Librairie Armand Collin.